So it's time to develop your story. We've done the hard work, we've done the brain dump, we've put it down, we've measured once, we've scored twice, and we're now ready to take all that information and put it into, I guess, some flowery words. This is the wordsmithing part of it. Now, some of you may struggle with that, and that's okay. I would encourage you to just do what you can, but don't be afraid to engage the use of a good wordsmith or a copywriter to actually word it up a bit better. A word of warning on a copywriting front is you want to be conscious around search engine optimization and putting the correct keywords in there. So this process is a combination of capturing the story and the uniqueness of your hotel, but also being mindful and compliant with search engine optimization and making sure those words are part of the story. My advice is to start with the story first, build the keywords in later. So this section is about building the story, and it's not the easiest thing, but there's a process here that'll help you go through it. So simply, again, in the frameworks template, we want you to populate it in here, and again, this becomes your master copy. So if you change your story, if you want to change the story in your website, you come here first. Change it here, then we populate it out across all the channels. So in a very simple term, it's not rocket science here, but I want you to build first and foremost a long description. So from all the thinking around unique features, and perhaps even dump in your existing story in here that you've got on your website. I'm assuming you've got some sort of descriptive words on your website already, or on the OTA channel. So dump it in here and then maybe adjust. Or if you think it's rubbish, toss it out and really start to focus on this. The key thing is here, you now know that you've got 3 or 4 key things that you want to talk about. Remembering you've only got a moment to capture their attention. There is no time for, we are a motel in Sydney. It's, yes, we get Sydney in there somewhere, but you've really got to get straight to the point. And so the first step is to build a long description of about 300 to 500 words. Now really 300 to 500 words isn't a lot, it's only a handful of sentences really. And it's not very often you'll use that full description. Sure, it'll probably be dumped on your website somewhere, but it's the full story, all right? So it's the skeleton of it, the rocks within it are the 3 to 4 key unique features, but within it is maybe some other flowery parts that you want to populate in and some SEO that you want to populate in. But start with 300 to 500 words. Play with it, play with it, play with it, get other people to read it, edit it, adjust it, go through that whole process, bring a copywriter in if you like, and just get your long description done first until you're, I would say, 80% happy with it. 80% is near enough. Then, when you're 80% near enough, move through into a short description. And really all you're doing here is summarising the long description. You're just really cutting it down. So that should be a relatively easy process. You've got the master story, cut it down to something, about 2 or 3 sentences long, because a lot of the platforms that you're on, and even noting that we've only got moments to capture and hold their attention, most of the time you're going to be using a short description. Good to have the full one, even better to have the short description, so 2 or 3 sentences. Then the next step is to narrow down again, and this is simple, this is a process corporations go through all the time to actually get down to their messaging. They start big and they pull it down. So what the goal is here now is to try and pull it back to 1 sentence, for travellers and tradies on the Newell Highway. So what is it that will encapsulate you in 1 sentence? But the key is it feeds down. Start with the long, build the short, and out of that, as long as it feeds down, as long as you can see that it feeds down, your messaging will be pretty strong. And then the final thing is to come up with just a few words, your tagline, or what we call a USP, unique selling proposition. So it's really pulling it back to less than a sentence around why people would stay at your property. And all those pieces of content will then be used in various locations across all the platforms. But you have to have a master copy somewhere. Otherwise, your messaging, when it gets out in the marketplace, when you go to populate booking.com and you go to populate Expedia, what if and the likes, and you're populating your website, you end up with different messaging. And it's not what we want. We want congruent messaging right across all platforms. So this is the master copy from here forth. Build it in here. If you want to change it in here, then populate it out on the platforms. So that's about naming your story, well, writing your story. The next module is all about getting into some more of the detail around room naming conventions and room descriptions.